Going on, people? What's going on? Top Flight TV, Mr. Top Flight Films here, man. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you having a good weekend. Today, we talking about no other than Dr. Umar Ifu Tunde, Big Papa, the Prince of Pan-Africanism, the goddamn Prince of Pepperoni Pizza, Johnson. Now listen, I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and I'll get to the comments later on. But we gotta address Dr. Umar, and I've made a video on Umar one other time, and I really wish I could have pulled my screen up because I need to show y'all this. But there's a video circulating, a recent video circulating of Dr. Umar over in Africa, and he's talking about Black Americans. How ridiculous we are, how crazy we are, because we acknowledge our indigenous heritage right here on this land. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The Hotep hustle, the Pan-African scam. All right, we're going to break it down, man, because it's long overdue. This shit is coming to an end. It's being attacked on every angle. It's all kind of people that are on Dr. Umar's bumper for these recent comments. Rightfully so. Now, we're going to talk about Umar, his comments, right? We're going to talk about why his comments were disingenuous. We're going to talk about why his comments were false. We're going to talk about why he's even saying things like this, especially over in Africa. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that Umar needs to be addressing, such as that school, such as these women that are coming out, putting them on blast, okay? Now, when I saw this video, man, it pissed me off because I kind of like Umar. I have a respect for Dr. Umar. There's a certain level of respect that I have for Umar, man. When he goes on these shows like The Breakfast Club, on these mainstream platforms, I think his voice is needed. I don't agree with everything he says, but I agree with most. I think he's a strong speaker. I think that he is a unapologetic speaker, and I have a level of respect for Umar. So when I say these things, you know, it's not really out of disrespect, even though he seems to disrespect Black Americans. We just got to tell the truth, man. You understand? We got to tell the truth, and we have to acknowledge the fact that there's something going on to where as though Dr. Umar and others, they do not want us to claim our American heritage. They want us to be Africans for some reason. And shout out to Africa. I don't bash Africa. I don't bash Africans. Yes, my DNA is from Africa, but I am a foundational Black American. I'm a descendant of American slave. I am a freedman. You understand? But it's something going on, man, where these guys, they want us, they just keep trying to attach us to Africa, and they're even trying to discredit our lineage here on American soil. And I'm going to get into that because, see, the thing with me is I can show and prove. You understand? I'm not just speaking out my ass. I'm not just talking to sound good, or I'm not just following some new trend. I can show and prove that my family, okay, have lineage on this land way past the 1700s. Okay, I can prove that my family is indigenous to the Americas. At least one side of my family. That can be proven. So when Umar, Dr. Umar, make these statements, he makes these statements like we're just crazy because we identify or we acknowledge uh, our Aboriginal heritage, that we're pseudo or something. And there's a hustle. He's hustling. That's what he's doing. He was over in Africa talking crazy about black Americans because he's pandering and he is hustling. I have came to the conclusion. See, I was sticking up for Umar for a while. Everybody was like, man, he's a scammer. He's a scammer. I'm like, nah, man, he's not a scammer. He just didn't know what he was doing. That was my thing. So I was always sticking up for Umar. Like, man, I don't think he's a scam. I think he got good intentions. He just doesn't know what he's doing with the school. He's trying to do it by himself. And I still believe that to an extent. But with new information coming out, these women been exposing them. The school still isn't open. I feel differently now. There's a clip circulating. This shit is hilarious. Listen. There's a clip circulating of Umar. He's down by the school, right, in Delaware. He goes into the corner store. Listen, y'all. Listen, you gotta find this clip. Umar goes into the corner store to get his little snacks and shit. You know how you go to your favorite corner store and the people know you very well and they know what you get often, weekly, daily? Umar walks into this corner store, gets his little snacks and things, and the clerk behind the counter says, "No gin today?" See, look, Umar stayed getting caught up. He stays getting caught up on the camera, right? He didn't think that dude was gonna say that and expose the fact that he's a regular gin drinker. Cool, no problem. Listen, you're a regular gin drinker, just say that you drink gin. But the way Umar presents himself as though he doesn't partake in such unhealthy activities. Guess what Umar said when he asked him, "No gin today?" Umar said, yeah, no gin today. I normally get gin for the ancestors. I pour it out for the ancestors. And now, shit like this is why I have changed my stance. This nigga's a scammer, y'all. People have been telling us for years. I didn't want to believe it, but Umar is scamming the community. And we're going to get back into that. Cyberdyne 100, what it do? AJ says, mother's milk. AJ, where you from? Cyberdyne TV in the building, man, what it do? Bryson, what it do? So yeah, man, little stuff like that, right? Y'all remember when he was beefing with Cyrus Suit. Y'all remember that, right? Umar was acting like he was on the phone, talking to his goons, talking to the hit squad. He's on the phone acting like he's calling the killers off. No, don't worry about it, y'all. I got this. It's nothing to worry about. The phone rings while he's acting like he's talking to these goons. Go look this shit up. Now, I'm just giving these examples because a nigga like this has no room to talk about our heritage and what we believe. And matter of fact, what we know. You dig? Stick to your hustle, man. Listen, don't involve FBA. Don't involve freedmen. You dig? Stick to your hustle. You got your red, black, and green. You draped in red, black, and green. Shout out to the red, black, and green. But everybody's not on that. All right? Shout out to the red, black, and green. But I want y'all to beware. If you're down with the red, black, and green, and I consider myself to be down with the red, black, and green, but if you are, beware of these scamming ass niggas. The conscious community has shown that it's a bunch of scamming ass people. You got Brother Polite, okay? You got Dr. Malachi Z. York. I mean, I can go on for days, y'all. It's so many people that have been caught up flim-flamming, stealing, touching kids. You dig? stealing money for schools that have never opened. You dig? Uh, we can go on and on and on, man. The conscious community is a toxic place, and not everybody is toxic, but people like Dr. Umar Johnson, they give it a bad name. Now, I want to talk about the premise that Dr. Umar was putting out there. Dr. Umar was talking about people in Black Americans are talking about their Choctaw, their Cherokee, their Seminole. They talking about they all these tribes own slaves. Talking about they won't let us on a reservation. Now, these simple points that he tried to make can be debunked very easily. And there is some truth to what he said. But the problem is, Dr. Umar, African tribes enslaved us as well. You dig? So why would you even make that comparison when the Dahomey tribe, if I'm not mistaken, they just did a movie on this called The Woman King. They enslaved black folks. You understand? So I don't know what he was trying to get at with that. Now, as far as the reservation thing, it's been a known fact that they declassified some of the indigenous people as Negro. You understand? Now, I want to go into my family history because most black Americans, listen to me, y'all, most foundational black Americans, their family has never said anything to them about Africa. If you're a black American and you're in the chat, I want you to, hold up. If you're a black American and you're in the chat, I want you to hit the 1. If your family never told you about a family member or a distant relative that was from Africa. Bill Cosby, what up, man? I appreciate that. Listen, man, when I grew up, nobody told me nothing about any ancestors from Africa. The red, black, and green flag was not in my home. Not saying that's a bad thing. That was for more people who were more radical, you dig? But one thing that I was always told is about my native heritage. You understand? My great grandmother, I was able to be alive when she was around. She looked like a straight Indian. This is on my father's side. You know what she called me and my brother? She called us little red boy. Little red boys. That's what she would call us. Little red boys. You understand? Now, that's just on my father's side. Now, on my mother's side, I know the exact tribe that we're from, that my mother and them from, that my heritage is from. It's called the Nanny Coke tribe. They're from Millsboro, Delaware. There's a museum out there where I can go and I can see my goddamn ancestors. You dig? When I was a kid, we went to what? Powwows. You dig? So I've never been to an African ceremony. My mother and them never took me to an African ceremony. My mother and them they never talked about Africa, dog. You understand? So, and I understand that there are black people in America whose family have, but it's very few. It's very few. I can say this with confidence. Most black people in America, their family has told them about Native American heritage in their family. You dig? Yeah. So Umar, man, he's out there talking crazy about black Americans to Africans so they can put money in his cup. Let's just be real. He understands how some Africans feel about us. So he went out to Africa, started talking crazy about us to make them feel good, to make them put some dollars in the basket. You dig? B-Bone, what it do, homie? Elizabeth Taylor said, that's sad. IDK Joel says, Africa, the motherland. Yolanda Jenkins says, that's right. We're not African. We're from right here, which was Turtle Island. Absolutely. Vinny Trampolini said, this man is going to sit here and tell you that you mixed with Indian. Now, I'm glad you said that, Vinny, because I don't tell anybody what they are. You understand? You just heard me. If you listen closely, you heard me tell you about my experience. You heard me tell you about who I know that I am. I can't speak for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak for you, Vinny. So I wouldn't even try to do that. But Umar, on the other hand, he tried to speak for black Americans to tell us who we are, as if he knows some shit, as if he knows everybody's family lineage. You understand? That's how we know it's the Hotep hustle. Cyberdyne said FBA the soil. Yeah, we're from the soil, man, and it's crazy because people like Umar, they built their whole identity. Let me tell you why they keep doing this. They built their whole identity on this Africa thing. Okay? They draped themselves out in kente cloth, the RBG flag. Their whole hustle is Africa. And it's been Africa for a long time. So they cannot switch up. they have to keep the shit going. You understand? BM says they want all black folk to be African. Bruh, no one in my family cooks in goosey. Come on, man. You dig? Our heritage is just not African, dog. We are a new culture. I don't even want to say new culture. We're not even a new culture. We formed a different culture from Africa. Do I know if my people came on a boat or not? I know my mother's side didn't. I know my mother's side of the family did not come on a boat. They were already here. You dig? So Umar Johnson, man, he says and does these things to try to deflect from the fact that he still hasn't provided us with that school, man. Where the fuck is that school? Listen, the school was promised back in 2014. Okay? Luke said that's not true. What's not true, Luke? Bill Cosby said, I feel you though. Anytime it's an issue, I get down for my niggas. I mean in all types of ways. Okay, I see. Don't get blocked, Bill Cosby. Yeah. He gonna get blocked here in a minute. Luke said that's not true. What's not true? Look, I can look in the mirror, right? And I can see more native features, right? I can see more native features than I can see African features. I'm not speaking for nobody else but myself. Everybody needs to go talk to their family. I went and talked to just to make sure I wasn't tripping. About 3 years ago, I went and talked. I asked my father. I said, "Hey, pops, do we have any Africans in our family that you know of?" He was like, "Hell no, hell no." Okay, IDK Joel, did you just hear what I just said, homie? Jason Harris says, it's been a lie since day one. See, the thing is, I fell for the lie, man. I fell for the lie. I was pumping that African thing super heavy. Something didn't feel right in my spirit as I was doing it, but I was doing it because that's what I was told. I'm like, man, shit, we African. You know, I watch Roots, you dig? I was tapped in with some of the research that was done. And I'm like, damn, we African. We got brought over here on slave ships. Yeah, some of us did. But at the end of the day, man, I had to really not follow the group. I had to go and do my own family history. You dig? IDK Joel says Uncle Ruckus. See, it's gonna sound like Uncle Ruckus. I'm gonna sound like Uncle Ruckus to somebody who either is not a foundational black American or just hasn't done the research. You understand? Username 090 says, we were all over the four corners of the earth. Absolutely. Kevin Barrett says, come to Baltimore, bro. I'm in Baltimore all the time, homie. I'm in Baltimore all the time. CG says, California, Texas, Arizona, all Mexico. Nobody, look, we not even talking about Mexicans today, family. I don't understand. Why y'all keep trying to interject yourself in the foundational Black American business? We don't go to y'all spaces trying to interject our stuff into Mexican affairs. I don't understand. For the past 2 months, a lot of my Hispanic people have been coming over here trying to tell me how much this land is theirs. And how, like, fam, like, we know that a lot of the shit y'all saying is bullshit. Why do y'all try to be more important than you really are? And shout out to my Mexicans. I got real good Mexican brothers and sisters. But how did y'all just pop up in 2025 as the most important people on this land who built this shit? Knock it off, man. It's another part of the con game. That's another part of the bullshit they try and pull on us. They're trying to erase Black American history, dog. And it's coming from every angle. It's coming from niggas like Umar with this African shit. It's coming from a lot of the Latins with the Latin shit. They trying to minimize our contributions. Come on, man. IDK Joel. I knew it. Joel is Mexican. No shit. So you're trying to discredit everything I'm saying without looking anything up because you're Mexican and you want to discredit Black American history. Lawrence Carmichael said, didn't none of you black people come from Africa? Your ancestors were already here with the Spanish. Thank you, Lawrence. I don't 100% agree, but I do agree. I do believe that, well, it's a fact that I think it was 3 to 6% of Africans that came on a slave ship landed in America. You dig? Bob Yeah says, African or not, if you're melanated, we share a common enemy. Listen, the days of the melanated, we're all black shit is gone. Hello? Everybody there, everybody in this chat, I need y'all to understand. The days of we're all melanated is gone. It's all about lineage today, man. Listen, we tried to do the whole everybody's black and it was one-sided. Everybody was not black. Okay, when we ask a motherfucker where they from, they're like, you black? No, I'm not black, I'm Jamaican. I'm not black, I'm African. I'm not black, I'm Nigerian. Okay, so I don't want to hear everybody's black. Because when we was all trying to be black, y'all was telling us, no, I'm Dominican. No. No. Y'all wanted to be exotic, remember? Y'all wanted to be foreign. Now it's like, oh, we're all black. No. You're not going to do that when it's convenient. So we just going to focus on lineage. It's not even about skin color. It's about lineage. You dig? Yeah, Dr. Michael Stanley said, I know y'all not going after Umar. Yeah, I'm on Umar's ass. Bring Umar to the stage, goddammit. This nigga has been scamming and flim-flamming. The Hotep hustle is on borrowed time, man. It's about to be over for the Hotep hustle. And shout out, and look, again, man, I'm conflicted because I think Umar is necessary, but he is shooting himself in the foot at every turn. Listen, at this very moment when you got old ladies that look like Medea coming out saying that you was being a gigolo, now is not the time to make enemies with foundational black Americans. Why are you in Africa talking crazy about us when you need to be addressing this school, you need to be addressing these women, you need to be addressing the fact that your local corner store clerk is asking you, why aren't you buying your regular gin today? Come on, man. Moses Miles says, we the original man. Absolutely. Mama 40 Story says, do the ancestry bloodline test. It will show you everything and everywhere your lineage come from. I was surprised myself. B-Bone says, Pan-Africanism just means we all black and share the same struggle. Kinda, sorta. But the problem is with that, my brother, it's just not practical. It's not, no, we're the only ones that think like that, B-Bone. Very few foreigners have that real Pan-African mindset. Do you understand? That's the problem. That is the problem. Come on, man. We got to be honest. You dig? And no shade. No shade. I'm not somebody who bashes anybody that's not from here. But we got to be 100% honest. Lance Holmes says, why is it when you try to educate people, they want to say no without doing the research? Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes, man. But they'll find out. Sin 7 says, Africa's in the past. You're a black American. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we got to wear that, man. Listen, politically, it is the best move for us. Dr. Claude Anderson told us years ago. He told us 30 years ago, we need to start focusing on lineage, a lineage-based policies, a lineage-based group. And he was 100% correct. If you're not familiar with Dr. Claude Anderson, he wrote the book Powernomics. Go check him out, man. He dropped a lot of game. He called us native black Americans. Okay, he knew a long time ago what was coming. He knew a long time ago that we really have no friends. If you look at things today, they are trying. Society is trying to erase and forget Black America. You dig? Foundational Black America. I'm talking about the civil rights Black Americans. I'm talking about the 70s, 80s, the whole culture, man. They trying to really erase that and take over and rewrite history. David Patterson said, I'm glad you're not trapped in a tribal mentality where you realize your own individualism. Luke, okay. 3D1, shout out to you. Y'all hit the like button for me, man. Jason Harris says, Mexicans are native and Spaniards. Michael Stanley says, wait a minute. What's up, Mike? Yolanda Jenkins Wilson says, facts. They thought the FBA were immigrants. Bro, we gotta, at every turn, we gotta put it out there because it's people that don't know, and then you got people that know, but still want to try to make us immigrants. You dig? 72 Reasons said, in North Carolina, it's a lot of people with your complexion that have Indian ancestors. But when you choose your ethnic, it's African American. Azrael chosen by Yah says, Shalom, family. Shalom, homie. Shout out to my Hebrew Israelites, man. Listen, I know in our community, man, we got a lot of different ideologies. We got the Hebrews, we got Muslims, you dig? We got the Pan-Africans, the Kemet, Commission people, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, everybody should respect everybody's situation, everybody's ideology, beliefs, and facts. You know what I'm saying? Let people choose where they want to go and what they want to subscribe to. The reason why I had started acknowledging my FBA lineage is because that's home. Like, I've been different places, I've tried different things, and when I finally listened to Dr. Claude Anderson, listening to Tariq Nasheed, I know it's gonna piss a lot of people off, even acknowledging the ADOS. Once I heard, like, whoa, cuz, like, this is me right here. This is me. I'm from here. Like, I was up here trying to pay homage to Africa, and then I actually met people who was like, man, I met this chick, I always tell this story, man. I met this chick from Nigeria, right? And she was disgusted at the thought. She was darker than me, black, pitch black, bad little jump. She was disgusted at the thought of being with a black American. She was like, ew, like never. Her parents told her not to, okay? So once I start coming into contact with these type of situations, I'm like, whoa, like shit, I'm up here claiming Africa, and this is the sentiment towards us. We're different. We're not. We're different, dog. Even them Africans that Dr. Umar was preaching to, they know damn well he's not no fucking African. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, if you get down to the nitty gritty, the Africans that Umar was preaching to under that tent with his red, black, and green dress on, them Africans know that Umar is not really of that cloth. They know he's a black American. You understand? Hey, I'm slacking on the comments. They coming quick. David Bell, Chicago in the building. Shout out to Chicago, man. Luke says culturally but genetically the same. T Mac 305. Shout out to you, homie. Ashley Sadler says ignorant. Larry Fourway says we black. Yeah, we absolutely foundational black. And I love the term foundational black American, man. You know, I love that term. Derek Strozier says, we are the American Indian. Native Americans came after us. Yes, some Africans were shipped, but not in mass numbers like they said. We are the indigenous to the Americas. Man, listen, that is a fact. And I just gave y'all my family history. Nobody can tell me what I already know. As much as they want me to be this, that, and the third, nobody can tell me what I already know. I can take you to the place. We can jump in a car right now, and I can take you to Millsboro, Delaware. We can go to a museum, right? My mother's side of the family is the Nanny Coke Indian, and we can see my goddamn ancestors. You dig? And they're not African. You dig? Nobody can tell me no different. Tantum says, what is the difference between both black peoples from different countries? That's a great question. Anybody want to answer that question? Does anybody want to answer that question? Hey, Russ. Russ says, Derek, you tripping. We from Africa. Russ, what continent, what country in Africa are you from, sir? See, they want us to be lost. They want us to be a kata. They want us to be a kata, a wild cat that doesn't know where they from. That's what they want us to be. Now, if somebody asks you where you from, you go tell somebody you from Africa. They're gonna like, what country you from? And most 100% of African Americans, they can't tell you. They're like, I don't know, because you don't know. But what we do know is we have a rich history right here on this homeland. We built America. You understand? Like, at some point, it will behoove you to stop claiming a foreign land that doesn't claim you. You get no benefits from it. And this is not being malicious. This is just the cold hard facts. You get no benefit from it. They don't claim you. This is what this is where your ancestors fought and died. Right here. Why wouldn't you want to claim this shit? Larry Fourway said, and even if you're not Native American, you're just American. I am who I am says, ain't got no family over there. They can go visit. They ain't got no family over there that can go visit. Come on, man. Once you start really thinking about this shit, because, you know, I remember I laughed. I asked a brother his nationality. This was years ago. And I feel bad. I got to go apologize to him. I asked him what his nationality was. He said American. And I laughed at him because I'm like, dog, you're African. You know what I'm saying? That's where I was at that particular time of my life. And looking back at it, like, man, that brother was right. I mean, he's a foundational black American. This is what he knows. This is who he is. This is where his ancestors came from. You dig? Perspective change. It says, what did you build? We built America, sir. You heard me. Did you not hear what the fuck I said? I said, we, foundational black Americans, built America. Okay? And if you gotta ask more questions, just go do the research. If you gotta ask me, how did we build America, then you don't know American history. RK says, we know where you're from. West Africa. Don't need to take issue with not knowing. Be proud of what you see. They keep trying to make us Africans, dog. Telling me I'm from West Africa. Okay, since I'm from West Africa, sir, and you can't even give me a particular country, and you can't even give me a particular area or region or a specific place in West Africa. You just gotta say West African because you want to make us Africans so bad. What is the reason? RK says, why do you care about knowing what exact African country you're from? You grew up in the US. Absolutely. I'm not concerned with my DNA being from Africa. I know where I'm from. I know where my homeland is at. I know where I cannot get deported from. Okay? That's how you know where your homeland is at. You know where your homeland is the place where you cannot get deported from. You understand? That's what separates us from others. Somebody just asked that question. I am who I am says, show me an African American flag or black flag. Every nation got, no, we got a flag, homie. Go look it up. What you mean? We got an FBA flag. We got a black American flag. The colors are black and burgundy and gold, if I'm not mistaken. Go look it up, homie. Everybody gotta do their research, man. Lamar Galloway said, that is the problem, my brother. We are not following the rules. The Father who created us all, some of us are Igbo, who are already here. Cherokee, Blackfoot, Ashanti, some were considered Aztec. Okay, my father claims to be Blackfoot. I have not done the research on it. I know for a fact my mother's side is Nanny Coke Indian. Cyberdyne 100 said FBA knows the difference. Absolutely. Angel says, then it broke apart so that means people could walk from one end to the next. Jared Simpson said, Jerusalem is our homeland. Come on, cuz. Come on, cuz. Come on, Jared, man. Not today, bro. Not today. Don said, no, you helped build it. You didn't build it. Okay, however you want to word it, sir. It wouldn't have been built without us. America wouldn't have been built without us. So as long as we know that. Josh Moore says, who cares where you're from? Why do y'all hate your race so much? Sir, where did you gather any hate for my race? Where did you gather that? You must have came into the chat late. You must have popped up late, man. Toll Tech Wade says there were people here already. Absolutely. Absolutely. 12th man said, yes, America definitely would have been built. No, it wouldn't have. Why do you think they had to enslave us, sir? See, just because you want something to be good, to be true, and it sounds good, doesn't mean it is true. Listen, if America, listen, do you think they wanted us niggas in the mix? Do you think they wanted us in the mix, dog? Do you think, okay, so what you're essentially saying is, since you're saying that it would have been built without us, why in the hell would they want to put us in the mix and then years later turn around and try to segregate themselves from us? Wouldn't they just leave us out of this beautiful country? Wouldn't they just leave us out of the plans for this great country? No, they needed us. They had to, it wasn't popping. It wasn't going to happen without us, dog. You dig? And you can cope and you can say what you want to say, but just think about that. 12th man says, because people in Africa were selling their own people. Man, listen, y'all gotta really get it together, dog. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all keep saying the same shit, and it still doesn't make sense to your original statement. Okay, so what? They were selling. Yes, we know Africans were selling other Africans, but you said this joint would have been built without us. That's what you said. So why would they need to travel across, choppy waters? Why would they need to travel across all these waters to go get these special people that they really didn't need? Why would they had to fight and enslave the Aboriginals that were already here? Why would they have to go through all this if they didn't need us, sir? Mama 40 says, there's no way this country would be built if not for us. That's a fact. That's an easy fact. I don't even know I'm even responding because everybody knows. Even Donald Trump said, where's dude at? 12th man. Donald Trump told us. He told y'all. And I gotta respect Donald Trump for that. Okay? He said black Americans built this country. Quote unquote. That's what he said. 12th man says, no, your people were selling you too for the prog. All right, brother. You're not coming with anything intelligent, man. Tolik Wade says, Trump, what the F? Okay. Listen, you got to understand something about this channel. We're not emotional over here. We don't use emotion when we deal with logic, okay? So if Donald Trump does or says something that's true, we're going to give credit where it's due. You understand? Rand D said, ain't nobody bugging but FBA. Rand D, let's talk, bro. Look, where you must be from, where you from, sir? Well, you must be not FBA. Randy, everything was built by us. We built this whole shit, including the most important part. Listen, the most important part of building an empire is what? Funding, money, capital. We were the capital that made this land great. We were the capital. You know that? We were the first commodity on Wall Street. Slaves, black people. So if you wanted to go build a restaurant, you can't do it without money, right? Money is essentially the most important thing. Currency, capital is essentially the most important thing when building something. And guess who was the first piece of capital? Us. So we built everything essentially. Cyberdyne says they want to say they're smart but lack research skills. Absolutely. IDK Joel says, thank you for selling crack. Fam, listen, sir. I know a Mexican is not in here talking about thank you for selling crack. I know a Hispanic is not talking about people selling crack. No, but y'all, we got the crack from y'all. We got the cocaine from you guys, right? Y'all don't sell crack, y'all sell tons of cocaine. Nah, J.E. Jones, we're not seeking validation whatsoever. I'm just chopping it up, man. I'm just chopping it up. James O'Laughlin says, what's up, fam? Happy Sunday from St. Louis. Shout out to you, James. 12th man says, okay, don't worry about what you did. I know, don't worry about what y'all never want to address the past, dog. You got debunked, right? Because you said we didn't build anything, or this wouldn't be built without us. You got debunked, and now you want to move on. No, 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 no. I want you to concede to the fact that you lied or you were misinformed. Concede to that fact, and then I'll answer your question. Sharon Haywood said, "You are correct. We built a Capitol. We built the White House. We picked all the cotton. What a lot of people overlook is, how do you get so disgusted that you want to buy another human? Why?" Sharon, thank you. People come on here and they say shit like, well, Africans were selling Africans. Let me ask you a question, 12th man, and everybody else who says that same dumb shit. If you see somebody on the corner selling their kids, would you go purchase the kids and say, well, they were selling them? like that's y'all logic, man. Like that's your racist. Your brain is so infested with racism. That's your logic. You think that shit sounds sweet. It does not. Makai L says, why are so many people hating the fact that we are foundational black Americans, are embracing our culture and identity? Bruh, there's several reasons for that. Several reasons. I just explained one reason that I really believe, at least as far as the Pan-Africans are concerned. These Pan-Africans, they built their whole life, their whole identity, their business structure off of being African. They gotta keep it up. They gotta try to stop this thing before it gets too big. Because once the truth is out, it can't be put back. So before this FBA, before too many people wake up, listen, when, because it's going to happen. When the rest of the foundational black Americans wake up, Dr. Umar will have no job. That's just the hard, cold facts, man. Once he's going to have to move over to Africa, he's only going to be able to deal with immigrants and spread his church scamming mentality. That's only going to work with immigrants after a while. It's already happening. Listen, it is a lot of foundational black Americans who have woke up and embraced their foundational black American heritage. Once enough black people understand and start to move like that, Dr. Umar will no longer be booked in St. Louis. He'll no longer be able to be booked in Washington, D.C., unless it's by immigrants. Because we will not be, our people will not be falling for this shit no more. Shea LaBouffe says the seller is worse. It's his people. That's sad. That's sad, Shea. That's sad that you would even say that. The analogy I gave was, if you seen a mother selling her kids, would you buy? And your response is, well, the seller is the bad one. Damn, cut. Like that's crazy. Your response should have been, you know what? You right. No, you can't say nothing after that. Joel says, do DNA, MF. 12th man says, blacks own slaves also, sir. Why don't, let's address that, 12th man. And I've addressed that many times on my broadcast. Most of the black slave owners had to buy their fucking family. You understand? That's why they were technically slave owners on paper. They had to, I want you to imagine your ancestors, your forefathers. Your forefathers were so devious, so slimy and so degenerate that they had slaves, they owned people, the original human traffickers, that a black man might get free. He had to buy his family. He had to buy his family back, huh? 12th man, does that answer suit you? Listen, everybody keeps talking about a DNA test. Listen, man. Again, I had the pleasure of having my great-grandmother in my life as a small child. I looked at my great-grandmother. I know what my great-grandmother looks like. She looks like a goddamn Indian. That's on my father's side. On my mother's side, I just told you, Danny Coke Indian. I don't need to do a damn DNA test. For what? Yes, will I have some African in my DNA? Absolutely. Everybody would. Everybody in the world is going to have something traced back to Africa. You understand? It's Miss Amy Love says no. No what? Larry Fourway said most people bought themselves. Username 090 says DNA is not the answer. BME says DNA will not tell you about your ancestors. Exactly, man. These people don't know what they're talking about. Krishanda Phil says, yep. Yes, one side of my dad's side, Blackfoot Indian, and my mom's side, Creole, were from Louisiana. There's no need to do a DNA test. Ask the elders in your family. That's what we do. I mean, this shit ain't rocket science, man. Larry Fourway said by 1868, by 1860, 80% of black people were free. The unknown says, why do all of you Democrat shills have the same talking points? All y'all lame. FBA. Salute to you, the unknown. Tolic Wade says, stop blaming Mexicans for your drug addiction that Americans had for over 100 years. Tolic Wade, listen, sir. Where does the cocaine come from? Where do the drugs come from? It doesn't come from the black community. It ends up in the black community and the white community. It comes from the Chinese, right? The Asian gangs and Asian mafias and triads and shit. It comes from the cartels. I was listening to a story about the cartels last night, man. Those are some vicious people, man. Vicious. Chicago has nothing on the cartel. Okay. Who you think Chicago is getting the drugs from? Y'all heard of the Flores twins? They were getting this shit straight from the cartel. Juan San said my grandma was 100% Indian. See, and most people you talk to, dog, they're gonna tell you the same thing. Most black Americans you talk to, they're gonna say my family comes from a Native American, indigenous American heritage. They're not gonna tell you nothing about Africa. Space Gut says this clown is a wimp. It's Miss Amy Love says not all trace back to Africa. Okay, well, let's say most. Well, I mean, Miss Amy Love, have you ever heard of the out of Africa theory that all human beings come from Africa? Everybody comes from Africa. 12th Man says they love being the victims. 12th Man, I thought you were going to say something intelligent. All your comments have been, and no disrespect, I'm just keeping it real with you. So next time you can come with more intelligence. All your comments have been very unintelligent, uninformative. Space Scut says this dude's a bum. Mr. Brooklyn 66 says Aboriginal King in the house. Salute to you, homie. Lewis Thompson says, who the seller was is neither here nor there. But the thing is, what majority sellers, which was white, was doing to them out of pure hatred, and so on. Space Gut says, Lil Victim, that's your name. Yes, I like that name. I like that name, sir. You're acknowledging that we're victims. And I'm proud of you, sir, for being such a big man and acknowledging what your forefathers have done. Okay? You should be proud of yourself, sir, for telling the truth. Mama 40 said, we have a selling station still in existence here in JC, where I live. But this entire point is we are American black people, and we deserve to be here, no questions, absolutely. We deserve to be here. We cannot be deported anywhere. That really pisses a lot of people off. You dig? Yeah, look, Larry Forway. He's right. We are victims. Colombia. Yeah, that's where a lot of cocaine come from. Bill Madison said, if I ever saw a black person getting treated poorly, you best believe I and others will shut that ish right down. I know I'm not alone in that. Shout out to you, Bill. Shout out to you. This is not a hateful channel. Listen, I live in Mountain, Maryland. I want y'all to understand something. I live in Mountain, Maryland. I've had people help me who weren't black. You understand? I've had people go out their way for me. You understand? But we acknowledge the truth around here. You understand? Zach the hippie says, we stand together. Shout out to you, Zach. 12th man said, a black man will kill another black man for stepping on his shoes. And guess what? White kids will kill the whole fucking school because somebody called them a name. Where you at, 12th man? I don't want to hear about nobody's shoes getting stepped on. When Scooter, the school shooter, will take an AK-47, walk into a school, start chopping people who had nothing to do with him getting bullied, start chopping innocent kids down because he was teased. Where you at, sir? Bring your ass back up in here. And I want you to address the school shooter epidemic. Don DeMarco said, well, it's kind of the same thing when you talk about drive-bys in the hood. You know how many innocent kids have... No. We're not talking about a stray bullet. I'm talking about kicking in the doors of the high school with a goddamn trench coat on, chasing innocent kids down. This is something that happens yearly. This is something that happens several times a year. Massacres because their feelings were hurt. Y'all love cherry picking and pointing out the faults of black folks. At least we have a fucking excuse. At least we have a reason behind the psychology of why we're angry. Some of us are angry. Some of us are violent because a lot of us come from slaves. And post-traumatic slave disorder is real. At least we got an excuse. What's your fucking excuse? You play too many video games? 12th man said, I'm just keeping it well with you. And you don't like, no, I love it. Because you keep getting debunked, man. You keep getting debunked. You keep getting spanked, man. You getting intellectually spanked. I'm not my feelings, man. I had to bring some conviction. Because when somebody says something as crazy as black people will kill each other over, y'all have selective amnesia. Dude stood on top of a hotel in Las Vegas. Name one black shooter that stood on a fucking building in Las Vegas and started chopping people, innocent people down. Name one. Who did that? That's not us. That's what your community does, man. I'm sorry. You dig? Lewis says, yeah, drive-by and school shootings not the same. Definitely not the same. Gerald Foster, shout out to you. Y'all hit the like button for me, man. Where'd these guys go? I know Jay said you talk about the Florida school shooting. Is that you talking about the one cat that shot somebody that he had a beef with? We not talking about that, dog. We talking about mass murder. That's what we talking about. Henry, what's up, my brother? James says nowadays school shooters do it for the fame. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for being honest, sir. Well, the main topic, my man Louise said, what was the main topic? The main topic was pretty much I was talking about Dr. Umar, and then people had to come in here with their victim mentality. Okay, they had to start talking about Africans selling Africans and all this other crazy shit. So we had to intellectually take the belt off on them. You dig? The unknown said everybody worry about FBA. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I gotta give out some wrenches too. Hey Henry, you definitely got a wrench coming, man. I gotta give out some wrenches, man. It's a couple cats in here that been popping up every day or on a regular. Liberty Now said Washington D.C. snipers were black. Okay, no, actually, let's just keep it real. Weren't they foreign? Weren't they immigrants? I'm talking about foundational black Americans. Okay? Leave us out of crime from leave us out of the crimes of others from different countries. That's not us, man. I'm talking about foundational black Americans. You dig? General Pipe says Umar is ignorant. Yeah, Umar, I had to do this video on Umar because once again, man, you know, he's crossing the line and he's doing his hustle and he's trying to throw black Americans underneath the bus. And he was in Africa parading with his little costume. And I just had to come on here and say something, man. C. Windsor said, don't backtrack now. You don't know what a foundational black person really is then. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I think BM says I think they from Haiti. Yeah, I think they was what was the names again? John Malvo. I remember I was outside when that shit happened. The police pulled me and my men out the car. My little man Najee looked like they tried to say he was John Malvo. We were out running the streets when the snipers was shooting shit. John Malvo, John Lee Malvo. I think the older guy was an immigrant. I think both of them were, if I ain't mistaken. I am who I am says Umar is Cuban. Is he Cuban? No, no. Don't tell me Umar is Cuban, dog. Makai, shout out for the group, the super chat. I appreciate you. Makai L says FBA is here to stay. We have awakened. Absolutely, absolutely. 12 man, you sweetheart, you're weak. You're very weak. You're very weak. You gotta come better than that, man. You gotta come better than that. Sharon Haywood says Seahawks stupid. They sound every time you come up with something, they always have an excuse that don't even answer the question to what you're talking about. They find another excuse. Absolutely. Cherry Allman said he was in the military. Yeah, he was. Hey, look. He was military trained. Something happened. Was it MK4 Ultra or however you say that? What happened? He was military trained. So let's chalk that one up on the U.S. Military. Jay says, hey guys, what is FBA? Jay, that's a great question. FBA is our foundational black Americans. You know, the people they tried to label African Americans. Well, we just call ourselves foundational black Americans now. We have gotten rid of the term African American. That term is dead. We're not minorities. We're not people of color. We're not African Americans. We're foundational black Americans or freedmen. You understand? The foundation of America. The foundation. Larry Forway said, right now, black people are trying to focus on Africa. Boys, you got some cats that's trying to focus on Africa. A lot of cats are doing business over there, you dig, which I find to be crazy because everybody should be focused on where they stay first, get this together, and then you can go do business and focus on other places. You know what I'm saying? Jay said, thanks because I'm mixed Indian. Yeah, we just went through that. I'm mixed Indian as well. And what we're saying and what we're acknowledging and telling others is black people have been on this land before they were brought over here on boats. Not all black people came over here on a slave ship. Uh, Username 090 said, how many institutions today profited off of the slave trade? Dog, we wouldn't be able to count, man. Like, it's so much money generated from the slave trade. If it wasn't from the slave trade, dog, this shit would not be running the way it's running. You dig? Cyberdyne 100 said, FBA, Freedmen, lineage, 24/7, 365. Absolutely. Son of a Gun said, I was born here in New York, and for some reason, I never felt home. Yeah, New York is a wild place, man. New York, I don't think I'll be able to live in New York. Johnny Dang says, not where they stay, but what state you was in 1700s. My the tribe from my mother's side of the family, they were in the Maryland, Delaware region in the 1700s. You dig? Cherry Almondy said the Olmec was black. Mama 40 said maybe if you put an age limit out there, people will understand better. If you are 106 years old or younger, then this is your land and deportation doesn't apply to you. Derek Strozier says, take care of home first. Yeah, absolutely. Gerald Foster said, both sides of my family are indigenous, but labeled black. Yeah, well, they reclassified. We know for a fact that they reclassified a lot of those indigenous tribes to Negro. You dig? Yeah, you see the small hat in here talking about get over it. Listen, Miles, get over what, sir? How about you get over the Holocaust? How about that? Do you hear us telling you get over the Holocaust? No, because we don't have that kind of spirit, man. That's not the type of time we on. You would never hear a foundational black American tell the Jews to get over the Holocaust. That's what separates us from everybody else. Everybody, all these other groups tell us to get over it, get over slavery. We would never tell y'all anything like that. And this is how we know the people who say shit like that are racist. You dig? Juan Son said copper colored people. Three from heaven. Shout out to you, man. Y'all hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, man. My man said, prove the Olmecs were black. Now let me say this about that. One thing I don't do, I try not to do, is lookership, where we just look at stuff and try to be scholars about it. But on the other hand, the Olmecs, if you look at the Olmecs, yes, you can see that they have black features. You understand? I don't really want to get into that argument. You dig? That's really not my thing. FBA's in the building deep, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all, man. Listen, I wanted to tap in and get on Umar's Kufi real quick. I'll probably be back for more. I want to do a thorough breakdown on a video that he did. I want to be able to pull my screen up and really break down what the shit he talking about, because it's important. You did. But Trendia Brown says, our people, backs, blood, sweat, and tears, soul sacrifice, genius built up this very country. Our people fought in every war too, absolutely. We are very much the foundation of this goddamn land. Curtis Cummins says, reparations for our black Holocaust. We still never got it. Yeah, I didn't want to say that word. Every time I say reparations on my stream, it'd be a lot of tears, man. A lot of people get really upset, dog. So I really didn't want to say that word. But yeah, reparations. We are old reparations, man. You dig? I am who I am. Shout out to you, brother. 12th man is in his feelings. Cyberdon said, cut the damn check. Yeah, let's cut that check, man. Listen, man, y'all have a great day. I'm about to go to the grocery store, get me some food, put it on the grill, get some oldies going on in the backyard. You dig? And relax for the rest of the day. Shout out to everybody in the building. Y'all hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I will be back probably tomorrow or Tuesday. You dig? Peace.